Hi guys, John here from LearningGuitarNow.com, and in this podcast, I want to show you how to play a Clapton Bluesbreakers style solo. This solo is something similar that you'll hear him playing over the tune Have You Heard? One of the classic slow blues by the John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers over the classic Beano album. It's one of my favorite albums that Clapton played on back in the 60s, and he has a really different style, I think, when he's playing slow blues back then in the late 60s. That's just a really cool slow blues tune to learn, and it's interesting to also note how his style kind of changed throughout the years. Really aggressive in his young style of slow blues playing. If you would like the tab, the backing track, as well as the interactive version, check out the All Access Pass. We're going to go ahead and break down the first two licks for free, and if you would like to learn the whole solo, that's available in the All Access Pass, as well as all the blues courses and other podcasts I've recorded. So go ahead and check out the All Access Pass if you're interested in more blues guitar lessons like these. Let's go ahead and start this lesson. Okay, now I'm going to break this Clapton style solo down into 9 separate licks. This is in the key of C, slow blues, 12/8, and lick number 1 sounds like this. So that is lick number 1, and what's happening with lick number 1, we got some space happening at the very beginning, so we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, and on that 4th count, we're going to hit 13th fret on the B string, which is also your C note. I'm using my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers, 1st, 2nd behind my 3rd finger, and then striking it, doing a small rake, and then vibratoing at the same time. So you're going to come in that's on the 4th count, and then you're going to come back in on the 7th count, and then that's going to be on the next one will be on the 10th count, and then we're going to hit, one more right before the bar kicks over to the 4 chord, the F chord. So the first part, we got this on 4th count, and then we mute for the 5 and 6 count, 7th count, hit it, vibrato it, 7, 8, 9, then we hit again on the 10th count. And then right before the bar happens, kind of like the up after the 12th count, hit 13 again, and then we do this Albert King style lick. So I'm bending 13th fret of the high E string, and then 11 on the high E, 13th fret twice on the B string, and then you take that 11th fret and just bend it up gradually. It's kind of in between. That's your major 3rd right here. Not directly to the major 3rd sound, but almost to it. So pretty basic lick. There's just a lot of attitude in this. And I find Clapton has a lot of that raking kind of just a little bit going on in his earlier stuff, not so much in his later style playing slow blues, but it's kind of an interesting change that occurred, very aggressive in his early days. Okay, so that's it for lick 1. Okay, moving on to lick number 2, sounds like this. All right, that's lick number 2, and what's going on with lick number 2 is we're still on the 4 chord, and then on the 8th count, remember 12/8 blues, we're coming in. I was on the 2nd position, the minor pentatonic scale, and now I'm moving my 1st finger to utilize like this B.B. King type position, but actually just using the minor pentatonic stuff. It's not major, minor pentatonic. Got this little pattern, 13, 15 on the G, 16 on the B. Clapton used that a lot, I hear. So I hit 13th fret here, my 1st string on the B string, that's the C note. And I'm doing a rake, hitting both of them, like 8, 9. And then bending up that 16th fret of the B string, minor 3rd here. This is 3rd position minor pentatonic scale. 13, then 15 on the G string, 16 on B string, and then hitting the root note 13th fret here on the B string twice. Now I'm moving to the 15th fret of the high E string, doing the screaming bend, and I'm bending it 3 frets up, so I'm getting a flat 7th sound. So to test 15, you got to bend to the 18th fret sound. I'm also applying a rake with this as well. And sometimes, it's different every time when you're playing blues stuff. So, if you catch the B string under it a little bit, it sounds really cool. It's just all about the feel and emotion when you're playing blues. So you don't want to have everything sounding stale. So that's one thing that happens. And sometimes it happens coincidentally, and that's a cool thing. So I can hit it perfect. But if I add, it gives a little bit of vibe when that B string goes under your high E string a little bit, and to hit like 2 notes. So I think it's a really cool sound. So I'm bending that up to that fret here, 18. Then pulling it down, hitting 15th fret on the high E string twice. And then hitting 13th fret on the B string. The next step of this lick, move backwards to the 2nd position minor pentatonic. Rake, hit the 13th fret of the B string. 11 on the high E. Now bend up 13 on the high E. Now back and forth, 13, 11. Ending with a vibrato. I hear Clapton doing that type of thing a lot. You can experiment with doing all upstrokes, all downstrokes, all downstrokes. Yeah, to me, sometimes you might play all downstrokes because it has a more of a digging in sound. Anyway, it's very characteristic of, I think, his style with the Bluesbreakers. One more time, lick 2. Regular speed is this. Okay, and that's it for lick number 2. Okay, well, that does it for this podcast. Like I mentioned before, if you would like the interactive version, the tab and the backing track, and if you would like to learn the whole solo, that's available in the All Access Pass, as well as all the blues courses and other podcasts I've recorded. So go ahead and check out the All Access Pass if you're interested in more blues guitar lessons like these.